going to tell you right now, you can see we got a jam-packed house today. I'm keeping Lewis and RC in the basketball conversations. We will not have a more dramatic night in the NBA the rest of the way, no matter what happens. I'm not taking a break for 20 minutes. Put your feet up. I'm ready to go. Windy is up with us early this morning as well with all of the insight. Let's get this thing rolling. At the Garden last night, Allen was there. Monica was there. Knicks and Pistons. Knicks a chance to wrap up a series at home for the first time in this millennium. 3.5 minutes to go in the fourth. Knicks down 3. Not anymore. Karl Anthony Towns were tied at 95. Now here's the critical possession. Detroit's got the ball. Cade Cunningham.
I don't mind taking.
Going to dish for Jalen Duren, but we got injuries galore for the Knicks. Allen, we got Josh Hart, and we've got Jalen Brunson, both banged up.
A hard fall. Jalen Brunson, on a previous defensive possession, tweaked that right ankle that had been bothering him. We see it right there. And on that possession that you saw Hart go down, Brunson was limping. That's not a good look for the Knicks. This could be a turning point of the series.
They're both off the floor until the next stoppage of play. I'll say that again, until the next stoppage of play. It's a 2-point game when Cade Cunningham gets denied, but Duren is there. The Pistons take a 4-point lead. Next Pistons possession, there still hasn't been a stoppage. It's Cunningham. The Pistons a 6-point lead. There still hasn't been a stoppage. The Knicks with an offensive possession. They don't call the timeout.
Well, you gotta hit this, right? Hit that. No.
They take an incredibly quick shot.
Foul somebody.
They still don't commit a foul. You've got the two guys standing at the scorer's table. In all, about a minute and a half of game time goes by while they're just standing there. Finally, with 30 seconds left after the layup, the Knicks are able to get their stars back in with 27 seconds remaining, and the lead is now 6. Tom Thibodeau can't believe it. It ultimately stays that way, and the Pistons get the win, 106-103. They force a Game 6. To summarize, Brunson and Hart were not in the game for a 2-minute and 30-second stretch late in the fourth quarter. When they left, it was a 2-point game. When they returned, it was 6 points. It was a 6-2 run. Here was Tom Thibodeau afterwards. I'm not getting his guys back in.
When you had Jalen and Josh there on the scores table waiting to check and get in, what was the thought process of not calling a timeout or not getting them back in the game as that lead kind of went up?
Just where we were with our timeouts. Coach's decision.
Coach's decision are the clear, most important words there. And obviously, when you're the coach, you're going to get your decisions parsed like crazy, your words parsed and your decisions dissected, and that's what's going to happen. Windman, let's start with you. What is your reaction to the way the final 2.5 minutes played out at the Garden last night?
Well, first off, acknowledgement to Cade Cunningham. He had 13 fourth-quarter points. He made this game go in the Pistons' way. However, Jalen Brunson is the clutch player of the year. This series was 3-1 because of Jalen Brunson's brilliant play offensively down the stretch. And to not have him for 3 possessions, 3 missed Knicks shots, basically decided the game. The reason Thibodeau did that, he had 2 timeouts left. He had to take one of them to get Josh Hart out of the game. Josh Hart is laying on the court. They're playing 5-on-4. So then he's down to 1 timeout, and he's behind. You need the timeout to advance the ball. It was just a strategic decision. It's not a catastrophic coaching move, but it's a strategic decision that he lost on. It's kind of like what happened with J.J. Redick playing all 5 starters in the second half. He gambled and lost with the Lakers the other day. This was a gamble that Tibbs made. It went against him. He did have a foul. The Knicks had a foul to give here. They could have gone that route. At one point, Deuce McBride looked like he tried to foul, but this choice ended up being, unfortunately, the difference in the game, in my opinion.
Monica, you do the Knicks radio. You're with them every single day. You're there last night. What did you see? What's your reaction?
Well, I think to question the foul in that 2:30 stretch is fair, but the bigger one to me was the one to get those guys off the floor. Because Tom Thibodeau is such an X's and O's guys and wants to be in the best position possible. Down the stretch in this series, timeouts have been hugely important, challenges have been hugely important. So I understand why he didn't call it in that moment. It also was a right corner 3, which is Mikal Bridges' money shot. And so I think you had a real hope that that was going to hit. You were going to get a natural stoppage in play, and you'd have a chance to get your guys in. It doesn't play out that way, but Greeny, even despite that, they still gave themselves a chance once those guys got back on the floor. And you could really feel missing that timeout when Jalen Brunson nearly stole the ball with 5.4 to go, I believe, versus the Pistons, and had to just fling it up because there were no more timeouts.
Alan.
What's fair is fair. Mariano Rivera was left in the bullpen. That's what happened here. here. The best closer in the game was standing on the sideline, helpless, not able to help his team. But as Monica said, they got good looks. They got good shots. You traded for Mikal Bridges. You traded for Karl Anthony Towns so that Jalen Brunson doesn't have to carry the offense all the time.
And frankly,
they had
he wasn't
opportunities.
last night.
No, he would not have a good game. That's another story. But we know, though, when it's crunch time, he turns it on, even when he's having a bad game. He played only 5 minutes in the fourth quarter. He took 4 shots. He was 1 for 4. But the one shot he took was an M1 they were right there. But the 2 Bridges shots that he missed, and he had a great fourth quarter, Bridges did, but not there. 2 open shots that he should have made missed. Towns has a bad miss against Tobias Harris down low. You traded for these guys so you wouldn't have to rely on Brunson, but in this moment you relied on them. They did not come through, and now they got to play a game 6 that they did not want to play.
And as much as this is scrutinized, and rightfully so, to Wendy's point, Cade Cunningham, that was a masterclass for him in the fourth quarter. But also Jalen Duren had 14 rebounds and comes up with a huge rebound in that stretch to get a putback for the Pistons. Look, it's crazy.
In order for these things to go the way they do, so many factors obviously are involved. But at the end of the day, if you want to be an NBA head coach, and I just said the exact same thing about J.J. Redick yesterday, it's not that what he did made no sense. There's nothing that drives me crazier watching sports than when coaches do things that cannot be explained. What he did can be explained. There was a logical reason behind it. Wendy laid it all out. That's the job of the coach. You make the decision in real time,
but don't
you
we
live
have to
with
look
the
at circumstances too, though? This isn't the same thing as J.J. Redick, right? J.J. Redick made a decision to say, I'm going to play everybody for the entire second half. You can't control Jalen Brunson getting hurt. You can't control Josh Hart getting hurt. And so now you're trying to make these decisions in a reactionary place as a coach. Yeah. And like Monica said, it was about trying to keep that timeout. And so you want that timeout because we all know they play so big in playoff situations. And so to sort of like criticize him and say that this is the reason that you lost the game, I believe it's unfair. You lose games when your best player, your best closer, one of the most clutch players in basketball gets injured in the fourth quarter. I think that's as much a piece of this as not getting them back.
But RC, he wasn't so injured that he couldn't play. He could have gotten him back in the game, and he made the conscious decision, again, not to. There are 2 means by which he can do it. He can commit a foul. They had a foul to give, or you can use the timeout. I understand the value of the timeout. Wendy is pointing it out. Again, I'm not saying there is no explanation for it. I'm saying, as it turns out, if he had known it was going to go all the way to 27 seconds, he would have done it differently.
You got to do something.
I mean, look, I understand the value of trying to keep a timeout, too. You're talking about to advance the football. But Jalen Brunson, I don't care how many shots he's missed. He is the dude.
Right.
You got to have him on the field, and that's
on the court, right? Yeah.
That's right. You got to have him on the court.
Just came out of the draft. We get it. Yeah.
You got to have him on the court in that situation. I don't care if he had been over 10 at that point.
Right.
He is your guy. Foul somebody, knock somebody up into the stands so you can get him on the court. And I tell you what, you live and you die with him. Mikal